Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and this video I'm going to show you how to fix another fish tank. What has happened here, I've done fixed this once and it was a failed attempt. Shortly after I fixed it, the rivets that I used in this plastic didn't hold up. So even with the silicone on it, still didn't help. So I found some aluminum. Now these here are leftover from the tracks that I used for my other fish tank. And I liked it so well because I found a nicer way to put lights in it and have the lights separate, so that I can unplug the lights, lift it off the track, and it's got a track that it slides in. So I found enough of this to do this tank also. So right now what I'm doing is I found a piece of this aluminum, and this I think was on a shower door, and it just so happens that it slides down on there with a press fit. So basically what I'm going to have to do is, the first thing I've done is measured it, and I'm going to cut this in the center, and wherever it falls to will be fine, because I'm just going to go to the edge here like this, and then these will mount on top of it, and that gives me plenty of space right here to have my hood set down on there. So we're basically doing the same thing that we did to the other tank, except this time we're just using this shower door frame, because I don't have any long enough to do this the way I did the other one. I'd have to have two more of these that are long enough to go all the way across the front and the back, and then I'd have to have some pieces long enough to go across in 3 different places. So because I didn't have enough of this, we're going to use these for the track like that, cut them down, and we're going to pop rivet them to the top of these. But I have to do some work on this before I can actually utilize this. So one side of this has 2 lips. This one is shorter than that one, so I'm going to take and mill this off, that little lip. That way when I put these together, it'll go up against that other side, sort of like that, because this lip will be missing. This will lay flat on that, and then we can put 2 pop rivets in it. Then, because there's a lip right here, I'll show you. Because there's a lip here that's only about 1/4 inch from the top, we have to mill one side of this down to where it's only 1/4 inch. But we're going to leave the outside the same, and it's going to come down to about right here. So it'll look something like that right there, and I think that'll work okay. And it's chrome, it'll look good. And this tank actually has a slide on hood. It needs some work, but it's got a slide on hood that slides on, and this here is its track. So I think that this should work out okay. If nothing else, I'll have to build a new hood, and I have to finish the stand. That'll be a later video, but first thing we gotta do is we gotta take all this silicone off. I gotta try to remove this without breaking that. I had thought about taking and just cutting this whole piece off here and not mill this out. If that's not too big of a deal to do that, I might do that, because once I put this on there, this frame is obsolete anyway. Basically all it is just it's acting as a gasket just to keep the aluminum away from the wood. I mean the aluminum from the glass. So basically this thing is useless anyway. So I'm thinking I could just take and cut this out to about right there, wherever that piece falls to. Cut that out just all the way across there. That way this can stay the same width on both sides and added support. It's aluminum, it's not going to rust in the tank even if it gets wet. So it's not that big of a deal. So first thing I want to do is try to take this loose. So I'm going to try to get this off, and then we'll see where we're at once we get this off. Alright guys, basically what I did was took my jigsaw, this bad boy right here, and went along there and cut that lip off as close as I could get it without hitting the glass. Then once I got it to that point, I just took this sanding disc on my Dremel and just ran it along there and kind of smoothed it out. So had a little rough spot there I didn't realize was there. So now we can slide these down on top of there, but I can't slide them on there until I get that lip off of the inside of this. On the inside of this there's a little lip right there on both sides, so I can't put this all the way down on there until I get the brackets on it. Then I can push it all the way down. Once I push it down, this lip will go down past this and be closer to the glass. So that's actually a happy accident that's that way, because that'll give you less gap between the glass and this, because this will come down below the plastic ring. So it'll come down about right here, and there'll be a little gap in between there. It's not a big deal. So I just push it down there just close enough to where it's getting ready to snap on, and then we'll put this one on down to the bottom of the inside of this plastic and straighten it up where we have the same amount of gap between this side and this side. Then we'll go and cut these to fit it. Now instead of me milling off that whole ridge, I think I'm just going to mill off this part right here, just where this is at. That way this will lay down in there, and that will still help with strength. So you don't want to take no metal out if you can help it. So I'll just take and put that up there, make a mark right there, and then from here to the end will be milled off there, in the center, and on the end on both sides. Once I've got that done, then I'll take this and set it down in that pocket that we have created, because this side's still got a lip. So we will come to the edge of that lip. That's where that one will get pop riveted. And let's hope I can get a pop rivet gun down in that hole. Might have to do some kind of a angle here just so I can get the pop rivet gun down in there. I'd rather the pop rivet be on the inside coming up but that doesn't really matter. This is going to be down on there far enough, even if I was to put a small pop rivet in there, it's not going to be much gap between the bottom of this and the top of the plastic, but it's still braced just fine. So now the next thing I need to do is go ahead and mark these, mill those sections out. We're going to have a front and a rear, and then we've got to straighten up a hole here. That hole's got a little dent in it, so we'll just go in here and police these holes a little bit. Don't need them, but I want them to look good anyway. So that's what our next project is to mill these slots. So I'll take this out to the mill, clamp it up, and mill these holes out. So stay tuned. Alright guys, we've got this ready to install, and I put a groove in here, or cut the lip off of each side on just the inside, everywhere that I'm going to put on them brackets. So then I went and cut 3 of these, and they will set right in there. If I don't break my tank. So that sets in there just like that. This one will set in here just like that. And then this one will set in there just like that. So it's got a lip. Can't be. So it's going to always be where I want it to be. So the next thing I need to do is make sure that these two here are square with each other. Once I do that, then I'll go ahead and drill the holes for the pop rivets to go in, and I'll drill them in this first, and then put them up there, find out where I want them, and then I'll mark them and drill them in the other piece. Once I've done that, then I can go ahead and I'll probably put silicone in between it and then pop rivet it, and then we're going to put a bead of silicone in the inside of this, so that when we push this all the way down on there, it'll be sealed with the silicone. So this tank will be good to go again. I noticed that the bottom don't have a brace, so but I usually take care of the bottom of my fish tanks with the stand, because when I build a stand, I build it so it's got a nice fit inside where the tank will set down inside of it. That way the stand itself will be its support. But considering the fact that this doesn't have a support in the bottom, in the middle, that tells me that this never had an original, or never had a support originally on the top. But it was all melted and stuff, and I just went ahead and put a brace in it, and that didn't work. It made a mess, because the silicone broke loose on the inside of it, as you can see, and green mold started growing in places you couldn't get to in between the plastic. So, and I just used pop rivets to put it down on there, but the plastic wouldn't hold it. And I knew it wouldn't. It was just an attempt. But this here takes care of 2 problems. Number 1, it takes care of the bow, and this thing does have a bow to it when it's filled up. So also it takes care of being able to build a light bar to set down in there. And I've already 3D printed some more of those stands that the light will mount to. Of course, these don't have the clips. They're going to have, they're going to be screwed down. So I got to make the channel for that, and I'm thinking about using these square pieces. These are aluminum. This is what my old canopy top that I had on my porch, and it's broke, and it's a poor design. So I'm just going to take all this apart, take all these plastic off of it, and we're going to use all these pieces. But I'm going to try to use one of these for a light bar, unless I find something different. I've got that boat trim. It's real wide aluminum trim that's tapered, rounded on both sides, and then it's got a center in it where you take that stuff that you it's rubber. It just squeeze it and put it down in the track like you'd see on the side of a camper or something like that. And that might work too, because if I do it upside down where the trim is facing up, I can mount the lights on the bottom of it, and then I can use that rubber stuff that I do have to put in the track to cover all the wires. So that might be a good option too. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this off camera and pop rivet those. Then once I get it pop riveted, then we'll take and slide it up off of there, and then we'll put that bead of silicone in there, and then we're going to press this down on there. Alright guys, we've got 2 of them installed. I just wanted to show you what I was doing to make this work. I've already got this one done and this one done. But I'll tell you, I learned something here that I've learned many times. And I still freaking messed up. I don't know how I did this, but for some reason it's 19 inches from here to here, but only 15 inches from here to here. So guess what I didn't do? I didn't center it. Yes, I could probably remove those and put it centered, but I don't think it really matters whether it's off an inch or 2. Who knows, maybe it'll work in my favor, and because this is a bigger hole, if I've got a big log I want to put in here, this might actually help me out. So because this doesn't matter, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time changing that. So it may work, like I said, in my favor. So I got to put this piece on, and I've got my square up there to make sure that's square, and then I'll drill the first hole. Alright, so I probably could just go ahead and put this down on there, but I would rather put some silicone in there. So we're going to lift this up, hopefully. And we need to clean the aluminum off anyway. Alright. So now, as you can see, we've got pop rivets in there protruding. So this is not going to go all the way down on there. That's the purpose of the silicone. So we're going to take and put us probably a bead right here on this, and then once we push it down on there, it should be good. So let me go get my silicone. Alright, let's see. Do I want to put it down in this? Will it reach? Oh yeah. So let me put the silicone on this. Alright, now we get ready to put it on. Look how crooked I mean, that's just not centered. But oh well. Ain't nothing but a thing. Alright, so now let's see if we can slide this down on there. And we need to make sure that we're going to go past that round corner. So I want to make sure I got the same amount on both sides. And then we'll go ahead and see if we can't push this down on there. Alright, now I'm going to put some in the ends. And I realized right after I turned the camera off the first time, I realized that this slide-on hood is not going to work. The whole purpose of making this so that the lights will be removable by themselves, then if we have a slide on, then I'd have to remove the light, slide it on, then put the light back down in there. We're not going to do that. So I'm just going to build a new hood for this tank. And I got that stuff still all over me. Now I'm going to get a hammer and tap that down. We're not trying to get crazy with this when we go to tap this down. I just want to make sure that both the silicones are actually touching each other. Alright, all the pop rivets are hitting the plastic, so we'll pull you down here and let you see what we got. I filled up each corner, so now I have a track. Remember, measure twice, cut once. I didn't heed my own warning. So I'm just trying to get silicone coming out of that hole there. So we know that it's touching because it wouldn't have came out of this hole. So all the silicone should be good all the way through. So this here, I don't feel bad about this tank using it now. I know that it'll work just fine. I just gotta do some cleaning on it, clean it out, and then I gotta finish building my stand. I don't know what I'm going to use for this. I'm not going to do two of them that's done by the porch boards for my grandma's front porch. I don't want two of them that look the same. But who knows? I'll find some wood somewhere and redo it. Who knows? Maybe I'll just build a new one. But I've got the frame, so I just got to build around it. I just got to find the wood to do it. But anyway, that is how I'm going to seal this. And this basically is a shower door frame. The part where you grab a hold of it to slide it back and forth. That goes on the end of the glass. I cut it in half, used one for the back, one for the front, and it just happened to be the same gap in the middle of it as this plastic was wide. I took the plastic off the inside of it, just a recap right now, and made it flat so this would slide all the way down on it. Otherwise, I would have had to have cut this inside down so it would rest against the top of the lip. Well, the lip was messed up anyway, so I just cut it the hell off of there, and it doesn't matter anyway, because now all this plastic is a filler for the actual part that holds it together. And we got 2 pop rivets in each side. It's all square. It's siliconed. This here is a track that came off of a one of them showcases that has the pegboard in it where you can hang different stuff. And my light doesn't like this cold weather apparently. So just use what you got in the shop, guys. Look around. It doesn't have to be shaped exactly like this, you know, as long as it works. So, you know, I just look around and see what looks like it might work, and if it looks like it might work, I'm going to make it work. It's the only way to do it. So, I hope you guys got something out of this and learned how to salvage these tanks, because simply these bands are not easy to find. You cannot find them. I could not find one for my other tank, so I ended up having to do this. And I'm glad I couldn't find it, because I would have rather had this than the plastic. So this tank is not going to separate no more. It's not going to bow. So I think it'll work just fine. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and by all means, don't forget to have your Trump coffee today. You guys have a good one. Later.